Hello and welcome to part 7 of our video series, How to Get Set Up with Modius in 20 minutes or less. If you have not watched our previous videos, you really need to because uh, you probably haven't gotten to this point yet. But otherwise, if you have, then what you're going to do in this video is you're going to set up a user. And so over on the left side, you can see we've got our dashboard operations, and now we've got our user tab. And we're going to go ahead and click on that under Accounts, and you're going to see the employee list. Now, if this is your very first time coming here, you're going to just see yourself. And so here is my name right here. And you can see that I can't do anything with my account. I can't delete or inactivate my account. The reason for that is there always has to be one admin account, and that way you can't get locked out of your system. And so there's 3 different account types, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but this account type, admin, has to exist. And so now I can go, if I want to, I can click on my name over here, my username, and I can modify some things. I can modify my email, my phone number, apply any skills I may want, apply a rolled up hourly rate if I want, but that's really all I can do. I can't delete this. But let's go ahead and add a new one because I'm going to say I work there, but I've got some employees, and so I'm going to add a couple employees. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add New User, and I'm going to say username. I'm going to call this, I'm just going to say James. I'm going to call this guy James. James Brown. And this guy, so here I've got admin, manager, and employee. The difference between these 3 things are this. An employee only has access to the app. That means an employee can only use the app. That's it. They can clock in of jobs, they can clock out of jobs, they can input, how much inventory they use, stuff like that. And that's all they can do. They cannot log into the web portal. Now, a manager has the same ability as an employee. A manager can log into apps, all that same stuff an employee can do, but the manager also has a login for the website. And the manager can actually do everything in there except for deactivate the account and add and remove users. So they're not able to do that. And obviously the reason for that is for you don't have a manager actually coming in and deleting your account. And then finally, the top level is the admin, which again, they have full access to the app, they have full access to the site, including making accounts and deactivating the site as a whole. And so as you set this up, you always want to make sure that you're just giving the minimum requirements that they need. If you've just got a shop employee or a field employee that's never going to log into the site or anything, make them an employee. You have a supervisor or manager that's going to be creating jobs and setting up customers and managing inventory. You're going to want to give them a manager login. And if you've got another person that you really trust that you want to have as a backup admin, go ahead and add them as admin. For this employee, we're going to make them a manager, and you'll notice the difference between an employee and a manager is that we get an employee, we have the ability to input a password for them. So if you have an employee, you literally can make a password, whatever it may be, that's going to help that employee remember their password. With a manager, you're going to just give them an email, and what's going to happen is they are going to get that email, and they are going to set up their account from there. It's going to have a link in there saying, hey, come set up your account. They'll click on that link, it'll generate they'll be able to make a password and log into the system, update their password, and then they'll have full access. As far as the app, whether it's an employee or a manager or an admin, on the app, their username is just going to be in this case, James. And so one of the things to note here is, I've showed it in other videos, there's a company code. And so this company code right here is also found here. And the reason for this company code is we wanted to make sure that employees' usernames were easy to remember. The problem with just having unlimited amount of usernames is that all of a sudden you've got James, and well, James is taken, and so is James Brown is taken, and James B is taken, and all of a sudden you're saying, oh well, your username's James 11576554, and your poor guy is not going to remember that. And so with the company code, when you download the app onto your iPhone or your iOS device, your Android device, you get that company code. Once you put that company code in, as long as you don't clear the phone, like as long as you don't like delete the app and delete and clear the cache, it's going to remember that company code forever. Which means that your users are able to just log in with James or Bob or Frank or Joe or Chris or whatever it may be, and so you can make really simple usernames, and so that's what that company code is for, and it's found in various locations. It's found over here under the settings. It's found up here if you click on your name. It's up there at the top. It's in many different locations, and so. You're gonna want to remember those locations or write it down or something like that, because it's how the system associates your company on the app, so that it's easy for them to log into. But so this employee we got here is James. So we're just gonna say James at hsubs.com. His phone number. Rolled up hourly rate. Again, this is used for costing purposes. If you wanted to, you could put 0, but if you really want to be able to gather costs, you're going to want to put his rolled up hourly rate. And this is going to be, so rolled up hourly rate is going to be his fully burdened cost. So if you're paying the guy $10 an hour and he's got taxes, $13, maybe he's got PTO and he's got health insurance and he's got this, that, and the other thing, and so maybe you say he's a $15 an hour. And so we're going to go ahead and do that and go ahead and hit save, and it's going to confirm and make sure that you want to create this, because obviously this is a new user and you'll be charged for this user going forward. And so we're going to go ahead and click yes, and now you can see that we've got James. You can see we can select this employee, we can deactivate him. If we need to, we can come into here. We can change his account type to admin or employee or whatever it may be. But now we've got a customer. I'm a customer. Now I've got an employee, is what I meant to say. So we've got an employee. So we've gone through. We've added. We've gone through registering. We've gone through setting up tasks, setting up processes, creating a job, setting up customers, and now we've got an employee who we can start to have clock into these jobs. So there is a lot of other stuff to go through, but as far as just the minimum to get started, this is it. We've gone through really the majority of the system with just those few steps. And we're going to have videos on looking at the reports, understanding what those are. We're going to have videos on quoting, on setting up your inventory, on costing, on attendance systems, integrating with QuickBooks and stuff like that. And that's going to bring more to your system and help you do more. But really, just out the gate, with just these few steps that we've shown here, you can begin tracking really what is, for most people, the most expensive part of their company, and that's the cost of labor. And everything else is just gonna bring more of that detail and more of that information. But hopefully you guys have made it this far, and everything's worked well for you, and you've gotten your customers set up, and you've gotten your employees set up, and you feel like you're ready to go. The next step that after you've made this, obviously, is you'd want to get your guys to download the apps, and we've got a video on how to download those apps and get those installed and be able to log in and use those. And if you feel free to check out other videos, and feel free to reach out to us if you've run into any problems, or if you have any questions or need any support. And we hope that you guys can get to this point and really, as we like to say, begin to measure improvement.